13 years ago, GTA Online launched and gave us Rockstar's vision for a continuous online mode. But of course, modders have also had their fill by creating their own multiplayer clients like Rage Multiplayer and others, setting a whole new foundation for custom multiplayer experiences with roleplay servers dominating the scene nowadays. But did you know that GTA Multiplayer has been around even way before GTA Online, and actually started its life cycle back with GTA 3? Well, in this video, I wanted to take a look back at the 3D universe of GTA games and check out the underground multiplayer mod scene that has been around for decades at this point, and is still going strong to this day. With hundreds of thousands of players online at points combined, and tons of official and even custom game modes on offer, the GTA multiplayer scene has been stealing hours away from players for years, with unofficial multiplayer clients like Theft Auto and San Andreas Multiplayer. So take a journey with me back through the history of GTA multiplayer throughout the 3D universe, from its origins all the way to today, and see which one I prefer out of what's available.
Oh shit, the cops.
Grand Theft Auto 3, out now on PlayStation 2 and coming soon to PC.
Now, multiplayer has always been a thing in the GTA series, even from the very start with Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto 2. With those games having multiplayer baked into the game's code, it allowed users to play with each other on the same local network. But with Grand Theft Auto making its monumental leap into the 3D era with GTA 3, multiplayer was unfortunately missing in this new take on the fully 3D Grand Theft Auto game. However, according to recently leaked documents on GTA 3's development, there was initially plans to include multiplayer as a fully fledged component, with those recently leaked documents on GTA 3's development showing concepts for a pretty in-depth multiplayer system, complete with factions to join, an inventory system, saved vehicles, and even more. And thanks to Abe Vermai, the ex-technical director of the old 3D era GTA games, who's been very open about their time developing these games over on Twitter, they confirmed that multiplayer was in fact coded with the basic gameplay working during development. But because of the limitations on the resources they had at the time, they couldn't delegate enough people towards this type of mode. They had to scrap the rest of the mode, and tried again even with Vice City and San Andreas, with the latter settling on the co-op feature that many of us played with our siblings back in the day on the console versions. But it wasn't until the Stories games on PSP and GTA 4 that multiplayer was officially reintroduced back into the series, at least in an official capacity. But that never stopped modders back when GTA 3 released on PC from trying their own hand at getting multiplayer to work on that game, with the very first take on an unofficial GTA multiplayer being GTA 3 Alternative Multiplayer, or GTA 3 AM for short, which was first released in February of 2003, and this video you're seeing is possibly the very first ever recorded footage of multiplayer being in the 3D era of GTA games. This multiplayer mod only really allowed 2 people to play together at once on a server, and you could only really see the other player if they were driving in a car, but it was an insane discovery at the time, and since this was basically ramming 2 copies of GTA 3 together to see if your buddy would sync up in game, it of course wasn't perfect. But GTA 3 AM was essentially the foundation for multiplayer mods moving forward, as the devs eventually moved their codebase forward to Vice City when that released. And with having the same codebase across both games, it made sense for a name change. So the devs started calling their multiplayer mod for these 3D era GTA games Theft Auto, which is why Tommy Vercetti is still on the logo for this mod.
You know who I am?
MTA expanded over the next couple years with both GTA 3 and Vice City, with deathmatch modes and stunt modes on offer to keep the community coming back for more. And around the same time that MTA was in development, few other multiplayer clients would pop up around the time of Vice City, with another notable client being Vice City Multiplayer, or VCMP. This mod started development around 2005 as a codebase for the team's upcoming mod for San Andreas, since it hadn't yet released at the time for PC, but the devs felt that the larger map would be more fitting for a large multiplayer experience, and Vice City was a good testing ground for that. With the mod being spearheaded by numerous well-known members in the community, they slowly drip-fed preview videos and public beta builds to build interest within the mod, with a generally welcome launch that gave the multiplayer community some friendly competition. This mod eventually went through a name change once San Andreas released, and is now originally called San Andreas Multiplayer, or SAMP. Of course, there were other projects out there like Liberty Unleashed and a few more, but they never quite stood the test of time compared to both MTA and San Andreas Multiplayer, with both of these multiplayer mods still being played to this day in 2025 by tens of thousands of players at any given time. And it really shows the dedication of these communities with these multiplayer clients. Now, if you're in the US like me, or at least most of you who are subscribed are, you've either never heard of this or never gave it a chance, because online servers for both of these clients barely have any US-based servers running on each of them, if any. As these mods were more popularized outside of the US, with them being extremely accessible to get into, since San Andreas can basically run on a potato build at this point, or the fact that San Andreas is just extremely popular outside of the US in general. You are bound to see a ton of servers running at any given time on an international scale. From Brazilian servers, Turkish servers, Russian servers, and even some UK ones, and many of them running different types of game modes like race, drifting servers, deathmatch modes, and most popularly, roleplay servers, which make up a majority of the matches you'll find still running, with some boasting hundreds of players on a server at a time. And since both Multi-Theft Auto and San Andreas Multiplayer are still pretty popular judging by the numbers, I wanted to take a deeper look at both multiplayer clients to see what they have on offer, to maybe find out which one you would prefer. But if the HD Universe GTAs are more your style, and you want to change from the usual drag of GTA Online lobbies, then why not check out the sponsor of this video with Grand Roleplay, a GTA 5 roleplay server running through the Rage multiplayer engine that has an ever-expanding economy throughout its many servers. The Grand Roleplay project in GTA 5 turns 4 years old this year, and has consistently been maintaining uninterrupted service over these 4 years, which proves their reliability over time. They've gone through a lot of tests creating their own unique systems which are not found in any other roleplay projects, and released hundreds of major updates, including their last few, like their 4th year anniversary update, as well as their most recent one that just came out a few days ago, that includes a new trucking job, some new events, and even a free car. So hurry up and join via the links in the description down below to find out what new features and content the most recent update brought. And if you haven't joined yet, now is the time to do so. Just follow the link in the description and start playing today for free. Also, make sure to join up into my organization by either going through your phone or the concierge at a hotel, clicking on Join Family, searching up my name, and you'll be able to find my group there. Join the huge community of players participating in discussions, create your own stories, and enjoy the game together with other players or even friends. And don't forget, every registered player will get a lot of cool prizes and bonuses on the best project in the world, Grand Roleplay. I wanted to start talking about MTA first, since it's been around the longest out of the two big dogs of GTA multiplayer mods. Multi-Theft Auto has been around since the start of GTA's lifespan on PC, when back at the start of 2003, one of the original devs came across a GTA 3 admin console, an open source trainer that came out shortly after 3 released, and after downloading that source code, they found a few interesting memory addresses that controlled the vehicle positioning in the game. So they decided to synchronize those addresses over the internet with some primitive netcode, and after a few successful tests, the first GTA 3 multiplayer hack was born. Ever since then, MTA has developed into its own injectable script to bring multiplayer functionality to the 3-era GTA games. And while MTA usually is referred to as a multiplayer mod, it more or less works like a trainer, very much like the one it was based on. And instead of causing a clutter by directly changing any of the original game's files, it instead allows devs and players alike to add their own scripts and custom models and more through this robust scripting system. And with the mod first being developed for GTA 3, then moving on to Vice, and then ending up on San Andreas, it's seen many iterations over the course of its development, with GTA 3's later versions having a more drop-in approach to its gameplay. By having players start randomly on one of the 3 islands, players would basically spawn with a few weapons and just kill other players to get more money, and then spend that money to buy more weapons to kill other players. MTA Vice City, on the other hand, offered 2 game modes during its time, with Deathmatch and Stunt modes being on offer, where Deathmatch was a lot like GTA 3's, but this time it had classes, where each character that you would spawn as would have their own advantages and even disadvantages to their gameplay. And Stunt would give the players the opportunity to go ahead and race each other around the city, or even stunt through different tracks made around town. And then when MTA San Andreas released, it expanded on all of those gameplay modes from previous iterations by offering new types of deathmatch and stunt modes like racing, free roam, and more. With each iteration of MTA, as it was updated over time, The modding capabilities expanded immensely from there, adding more and more ways to manipulate GTA San Andreas' codebase and allow each lobby to feel completely different depending on what players were adding to their servers. Multi-Theft Auto also initially got to the point of allowing up to 128 players inside of the servers, which was already pretty crazy at the time, but nowadays you'll see servers that allow up to 1,000 players in one server at a time, which is just mind-boggling. But Multi-Theft Auto also has its own map editor that's included as well, which is insane to think about. And this allows players to create their own custom environments for their servers for races or stunting or even more, and allows all kinds of custom mods to be added to totally new maps for a completely dynamic and fully customizable multiplayer experience. It's actually insane how far this mod has come in the 2 decades it's been available, and it still to this day has tens of thousands of players still getting their multiplayer fix. And no 2 servers are ever going to have the same feel, with some servers having completely different games baked into them, and some even having voice chat integrated into them as well. Like with the DayZ servers, which have their own apocalyptic take on San Andreas, complete with the same gameplay systems you'd expect from the real DayZ game. For many of you who commented on my Zombie Andreas video looking to see if there's a multiplayer version of that, this is probably the closest you'll get until the Zombie Andreas team releases their own official server again. Or then there's Rank Online, which is basically a Diablo clone made entirely in San Andreas' engine, but modified through the immense toolset that MTA has on offer. And this game looks like it goes fucking hard. And I honestly wish I could play it, but every time I try to join the server, it just times out on me, which is really unfortunate because I was hoping I could play this, but maybe we'll see it come back someday so I could check it out myself. Or there's the Need for Speed San Andreas server, which basically combines the gameplay from Need for Speed Underground and ports it into San Andreas' engine, complete with the wanted system from that game, car customization, races, and more. And I haven't had a chance to check this one out myself, but from what I've seen from the Jizzy's channel, it looks incredibly fun. And who knows, maybe I'll give it a shot after this video. And sometimes there's also popular events that take place within MTA held by different creators, like GTA speedrunner Lots of S's
Super Flashberg Autos race.
that's held a few times a year, where hundreds of players gather on this server to race and collect every single vehicle in San Andreas' roster and deliver each one of them to the Fleischberg brewery that's located closest to the centermost point of the map, with players spawning with a random vehicle in a random location far away from the brewery. You have to deliver every single vehicle in the game, from bikes, cars, airplanes, boats, everything, all the way back to this brewery, and to see who can deliver every single vehicle the fastest. It's a huge race that lasts anywhere between 6 to 9 hours, depending on how fast people are, and it's an insane feat to witness. Unfortunately, I've been too busy to participate in one of these myself, but hopefully I can catch onto one of these races in the future. So go follow Lots of S over on Twitch or subscribe to their channel if you haven't already, and maybe join their Discord to find out when you can hop into one of these races in the future. And one last server I'd like to mention is one I've personally played a bit over the years, which is the Say's RPG server. This is a roleplay server specifically designed and influenced by a lot of GTA Online's gameplay, but of course with a roleplay spin on it. Unfortunately, I don't have any of my old footage of when I used to play on this server a few years ago, as I wanted to make a video on these mods for a while, but due to it being stored on my older PC build, which I lost my main drive over, I unfortunately don't have any of that old footage. But thankfully, I still remembered my old sign-in information and was able to load up my old character. Say's is interesting though, as it has you start off right off the bat by choosing a spawn location and then choosing a basic role to start your career with, which thankfully can be changed any time upon death. But each one of these roles offers up a wide variety of gameplay options, and each one ranges in how much money you can build up over time. But whether it's about building up money or just finding an excuse to do more trucking in San Andreas, there's plenty of things to get lost in. There are a ton of RPG options available there as well to help build up your character over time and really make a life for yourself in San Andreas. With many gangs, organizations, and even services to join up in, you'll never get bored within this server. That is, unless there's not a whole lot of players on, that's when things could get a bit stale. As the last time I logged in, it was pretty much a ghost town, which was a damn shame, even though there was like 40 players online. But the memories I have from the server were definitely a good time. Shout out to the user ISO, I think that's how you say your name, for showing me the ropes back in the day and helping me get my character to where they were. You were a huge help back in the day.
But MTA has a ton of variety if you go out looking for it. Unfortunately for me though,
most servers were located in other regions outside of mine, so getting around was a bit hard for me in my experience. But I'm sure you'll be able to find a server on MTA that fits for you if you're looking to check it out. The other multiplayer client that's still kicking to this day is San Andreas Multiplayer, and like discussed earlier in the video, has been around since Vice City with VCMP, but has since expanded immensely since moving on to San Andreas. Unlike Multi-Theft Auto, which used a code-based plugin for most of its content, San Andreas Multiplayer utilizes the pawn scripting engine that San Andreas already has to allow users to create mission scripts within the San Andreas map that, when used by a server in a special file format, would allow players to sync up together and play the same mission.
a lot of these missions, of course, expanded into their own official game modes.
Like Assault, Capture the Vehicle, Cops and Gangs, Manhunt Las Venturas, Racing, and even free roam game modes where you could do as you wish. But because the multiplayer mod is essentially using the game's codebase, there are some bugs to be expected, and many early iterations had major crash issues and a number of other things that could go wrong. Nowadays though, at least in my experience, it works flawlessly between most matches that I've checked out. The mod did have a bit of a rocky history from what I've gathered in my research, and I wasn't a part of the community during San Andreas Multiplayer's lifespan, so if anything, take some of this information with a grain of salt. So just be aware this is coming from an outside perspective. But at one point early on in the mod's development, the team behind the mod decided that they were going to totally switch up the project's gameplay to be more in line with what San Andreas already had on offer by making the mod a sort of expanded version of the co-op feature found in the console versions of the game. This was something that felt like a blow to the knee to the community, and many in the ranks widely rejected this new co-op style of gameplay, even when the team felt like it was the right move. The lead dev of the project left during this time due to everything going on and other things they had as well, while another one of the lead devs took over and rebranded the mod at the time as
Grand Theft Multiplayer.
During this time though, the mod went back to its roots by bringing the expansive multiplayer focus back, and then the main dev returned back to the project with a more cohesive vision in mind to make this the best multiplayer experience it can be for the community. And with the lead dev back and the direction of development moving back to its original vision, the team decided to rename the mod back to San Andreas Multiplayer. And for years, the San Andreas community thrived with many different types of gameplay options and servers on offer that you could lose hours into.
However,
development on the mod ended around the end of the 2010s, and the official website was shut down by 2023. But fans in the community and devs left on with the project have kept San Andreas Multiplayer running even to this day, with a new website hosting the last release of San Andreas Multiplayer, and there's even an open source launcher you can install for it called OpenMP that expands the scripting possibilities even more, much like Multi-Theft Auto. Like I said though, I myself never got into San Andreas Multiplayer until the making of this video, and at first I just went server diving to see if there's anything I like. And while there is a ton of variety, there wasn't a whole lot of English servers for myself to dive into, until I stumbled across Internet Rob's video on this mod from a few years back. Shout out to Internet Rob, by the way. And in their video, they showcased the server Welcome to Los Santos. And just based off of that video, I knew I had to go ahead and give this one a shot. Right off the bat, straight from the introduction of the server, I was hooked. This server essentially blends the good parts of San Andreas single-player content, weaves in elements of GTA Online, and sprinkles in a bit of RP elements to round everything out. And it feels like the closest thing we'd ever get if San Andreas ever shipped with an official multiplayer mode made by Rockstar. And honestly, I wish this was how GTA Online was going to be with GTA 5. But eventually it felt like GTA Online became more or less an excuse for Rockstar to siphon more money out of their customers. But in Welcome to Los Santos, you spawn as a random nobody in town and start by collecting your first vehicle from Claude in a random part of Los Santos. From there, you'll be able to store your vehicle in a free garage that's available for 30 days, until you can round up enough cash to settle into your own place. During this time, you can take missions from various characters in San Andreas, like Big Smoke, Sweet, Caesar, Catalina, and even more, and they'll provide you with radiant missions to make some cash and get things started. Or you can take on many of the different jobs that are available, like becoming a cop and camping any of the local pay-and sprays to arrest players that have a wanted level, or grab your driver's license from the San Andreas driving school and take up a hot dog vendor job to help feed the server's population, which can actually net you quite a bit of cash in populated areas.
dude, I've made almost 100,000. Let's fucking go, dude. I'm climbing the ranks of samp multiplayer by selling hot dogs.
Or consider joining up with one of the many gangs around the map, like the Grove Street families. Or even form your own organization as a CEO, much like you could with GTA Online, and buy and manage different illicit businesses around the state. And once you do eventually unlock an apartment or a house, you'll have a heist board that's unlocked at your home where you can pull off over 20 different heists to rake in a ton of cash. And if you want to take that cash even further, hell, there's even a stock market included in the game. Something even GTA Online never fully implemented, complete with a crypto market in-game as well, so you can gamble away your in-game savings in a safer environment without actually touching your real savings. And you can even compete in death matches, races, play basketball, go golfing, or even take a load off and go fishing out by the lake. There's so much that you can get lost in this server alone. And anytime I open up San Andreas Multiplayer, this is like the main server that I head to every time, just for the sheer variety of gameplay options that are available just in this server alone. And with 3 servers available, all boasting up to 400 players at capacity, and usually having about half of that logged in at any given time, you'll still find plenty of fun within this server, and I highly recommend that you give it a shot.
Barely.
Welcome to Los Santos is the closest thing we could have ever gotten to what an official version of San Andreas Multiplayer is, and it's a great starting point for trying multiplayer in the 3D era of GTA games. And I really appreciate the work that the devs have put into this server, as I personally feel it stands above the rest of the San Andreas Multiplayer community. Not to throw any shade at any other servers in the community, but I found this one to be the most enjoyable out of the bunch, in my opinion. But San Andreas Multiplayer still has plenty of gameplay variety available for your San Andreas needs. So grab a buddy, hop in your lowrider, and hit the state of San Andreas a few more times before GTA 6 gets here. Now, with both of these multiplayer clients, you're probably wondering where to start, especially if you've never played either of them before, or you might be asking, which one is better out of the two? In my opinion, I feel like they're both fantastic multiplayer clients in their own respective rights. MTA offers a huge variety of different gameplay options, and even new games found inside of servers entirely, with a lot of them still going strong to this day. But having such a huge server browser and so many different servers available right off the bat, it can feel daunting for a first-time player to really get into it at first. But if you're looking for a completely different gameplay experience than what's already on offer with San Andreas, then I'd recommend giving MTA a shot and checking out the servers that I mentioned earlier in that section of the video, as they're actually a good place to start to dive into to see what's on offer. But if you're looking for a simpler multiplayer experience that feels more akin to what you'd expect out of GTA multiplayer in general, then give San Andreas Multiplayer a shot, and maybe check out Welcome to Los Santos, as like I said before, that's a pretty good starting point for the 3D era multiplayer anyway. But I guess if I'd have to pick between the two, for a quick and easy pick up and go, it would be San Andreas Multiplayer for me. But that being said, MTA has a ton of great stuff available. If you haven't had a chance to play the older GTA multiplayers, I highly recommend checking out both MTA and San Andreas Multiplayer and see which one fits more with your style. Or if you're looking to dive into the modern GTA's unofficial multiplayer scene, then definitely check out the sponsor of this video with Grand RP, like I mentioned before, as there are a ton of ways to play the Grand Theft Auto series with your friends, and Grand RP is also a great place to start.
Make sure to sign up below in the description using my referral link, and consider joining into my organization so we can play together in the future.
With that being said, have you had a chance to play San Andreas Multiplayer or Multi-Theft Auto yet? If you have, let me know some of your fondest memories from these multiplayer mods, as I keep hearing really cool stories here and there about these mods' histories, so please share any memories that you have down below. Or if I missed anything, let the chat know any other information that may be helpful about these mods. I appreciate the hell out of all of you who've subscribed, and consider doing so if you haven't already, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video, or dislike it if you didn't. I hope you all had a fantastic day so far, or at least a better one tomorrow, and I will see you all on the next one. BladeO out.